All right, we begin with breaking news out of Washington. The bill to release the Epstein files is now on its way to the president's desk. The Senate has confirmed formal passage of that bill after a near unanimous vote. Just yesterday, we know the House passed the measure 427-1 after President Donald Trump reversed course on Sunday and urged Republicans to vote in favor of releasing the files. The announcement from the Senate press office was made on X just after 10 Eastern time. It said H.R. 4405, the Epstein Files Transparency Act, was received from the House and the bill is passed. A vigil was held on Capitol Hill yesterday after the House vote. Lawmakers and Epstein survivors, they praised the months-long bipartisan push to get the bill passed. It's something many have fought decades to see happen. Survivor Annie Farmer spoke earlier to Gail King on CBS Mornings.
This feels like a victory, a long overdue victory in a fight that many people have fought, and that feels great. But it's bittersweet, because of I think what it took for us to get to this moment. These files should be available now. They should not be tied up in any kind of investigation. But we're concerned about things like that might get in the way of what we're looking for.
All right, let's go live to Capitol Hill and CBS News congressional correspondent Caitlin Huey-Burns. Caitlin, thank you for joining us today. Can you take us through the timing of all of this and how the bill went through the Senate with no amendments?
Yeah, Mugo, it was a really fast day. Congress can act very quickly if they want to. It was really remarkable to watch this House vote yesterday. Nearly a unanimous vote. We hardly ever see that up here on Capitol Hill, especially for an item that Republican leadership never wanted to bring up in the first place. Then the Senate quickly took it up, and they did it by a procedure called unanimous consent, where it just takes one senator to object to essentially fast tracking this through. So there wasn't a roll call vote the way that there is in the House, but essentially what they did yesterday, the Senate said, as soon as this bill lands in our chamber, it will automatically be considered passed. So that's what we were watching for this morning, because the Congress is kind of a weird place. There are a lot of arcane rules. The bill actually had to move from the House over to the Senate physically to be received and then officially approved by the Senate. So now it is heading to the president's desk. But this is a big story in so many ways, and I think one item of it as well is the way in which this came from the ground up, not from the top down. This was something that leadership on the Republican side had opposed. It was forced to the House floor for a vote through a discharge petition, another kind of rule that they can use to force a vote if you get enough signatures. And so this was an example of Congress exerting its own power, especially against the president, although the president had reversed course over the weekend and encouraged people to support it.
And Caitlin, speaking of the president, we know he could have released the files without going through Congress. So any reaction from lawmakers on how this played out?
Yeah, that's a really good point, Mugo, that he could have done this anyway, and he was asked repeatedly why not just release the files. But I did talk to Congressman Thomas Massie. He's a Republican from Kentucky. He was the one leading the charge to force a House vote on this, and he said essentially the reason that they wanted to pass this into law was so that the administration could not have any, leeway in terms of not releasing these files. In other words, he said that the DOJ would be criminally liable if they don't release these files now that this will be turned into actual law. Now, where this goes from here, the Justice Department has 30 days to release all of these files to the public. But remember, the president has also urged the DOJ, or told the DOJ, to look into ties between high-profile Democrats and Jeffrey Epstein. And so there are some concerns among lawmakers up here that those investigations could delay or limit what will or could be released.
All right, we shall wait and see. CHB on Capitol Hill for us today. Thank you.